Hi, this is Barrie, and welcome to the Audiowavecafe podcast. Glad you could join me on this first episode of Audiowavecafe podcast. I was a musician in Coventry for many years and have played in lots of bands. I started out on rhythm guitar, then bass, then into songwriting. Now after a long retirement, podcasting. The Audiowavecafe podcast is mainly for musicians, producers and fans from Coventry and surrounding towns, but everyone is welcome to listen in. My guests will include musicians, past and present, and others who have made a contribution in some way to the city's musical heritage. In this episode, my guest is Mark Ryder, a founding member of Ska Waddy, a ska and reggae tribute band. I'll also be talking about streaming your music, is it worth it? And I shine a spotlight on Horizon Studios, long gone but not forgotten iconic recording studio in Coventry. $147 billion. That is the number of individual music streams made in the UK in 2021. Now if you're an artist or band, you'd want a slice of the money that's generated by that eye-watering figure. But in October 2021, the Digital Media and Sport Committee report stated that the music streaming model is in need of a complete reset, as there are pitiful returns from the current system, that if you are signed to a label, the streaming service, say Spotify, Tidal or Apple Music, pays out over 40% for the record company and the artist 16%. Or give a figure for one download, it's insignificant. Now these are approximate figures. Let's say one of your songs was downloaded 1,000 times. You just might receive £3 in royalties. Nile Rodgers said at the committee meeting that a music stream should be treated as a license, not a sale. A license gives the artist 50% of royalties for a song, whereas a sale gives the artist between 18 and 30%. Obviously for a record company, a stream is classified as a sale, and of course it maximises their profits. Artists have always been screwed. It's a fact of life in the music business. Everyone wants a piece of you, which you would accept if you actually got a fair share, and 16% ain't it. Jamie Collinson, head of marketing at Domino Records in London, has said that streaming has saved the music business, arguing that it was Spotify that created a new business model for the music industry. For new emerging artists, there is a choice between no money and streaming money. Collinson stated that artists who have embraced streaming and figured out how to make it work for them have thrived. Well, he would say that. Or does he have a point? I guess he means, don't just post your songs on Spotify and hope for the best. So if you're an independent artist or band, and you produce your own recordings and get them distributed, then surely you can start planning to move out of your parents' place. Well, not yet. The good thing is, distributors do not own the rights to your song. It's still yours. I wanted to give you names of good distributors, those that work with the artists and provide excellent customer service, and up front with their charges. But I've read good and bad reviews about all of them, although CD Baby, DistroKid and TrueCore seem better than many. If your band has a good distributor that cares, let me know. Or if your band are actually making money, then I'll have you on as a guest on a podcast. If you're making lots of money, heck, I'll even be your roadie. Today I have with me Mark Ryder, guitarist and founder of Ska Waddy, a ska and reggae tribute band. Mark, it's great to have you here. Thanks for joining me.
Well, it's very nice to be invited to come and have a little talk with you and possibly chew over the fat about the old times as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd always thought of you as a rock and blues guitarist. In fact, more than 40 years ago, together with Roger Strong, we formed our own rock band playing original material. So, what brought about the change in genre when you put on a black suit and pork pie hat and started playing ska and reggae?
That's a good question. Well, I think, if you go back to the time when we started and when I was a young man and a guitarist just starting off, I was, I guess like everybody else, influenced by the music of the time. I was born in 1952, so I was influenced by the music of the 40s and certainly by the music of the 50s, which as a schoolboy I was listening to the music of the 50s, and then obviously came the 60s. I think everybody at that time was influenced by rock and roll and by the blues and by jazz and the big bands and things like that. So I wouldn't be any different to anybody else. But I've always been interested in offbeats as a guitarist. If you remember in Reflex, there was quite a few songs that I was playing offbeat guitar in there. Prior to joining Reflex, I was actually running reggae discos at the Red House and things like that, and putting reggae music on in between the break when the band wasn't playing. So it's not something that is like I've taken on as a new thing. I've been interested in ska and reggae for a long time. What basically happened with the Ska Waddy is like I formed it with Lee Ross, and we were looking for an angle where a small act, a duo, could be have a bit of a commercial edge over what everybody else was doing. So we decided to concentrate on one of the things we concentrate on was doing a bit of ska and reggae. Like basically I consider it a bit of the music of the area, because I'm a Coventry lad, so I'm obviously influenced by that as well.
I've seen videos of Ska Waddy as a 2-piece and as a 4 or 5-piece band. What's all that about?
We wanted to be slightly different to what normally you might see in a pub or a club on a Saturday night, and have a little bit of a commercial edge. But like nowadays, to have a band, like a 7 or 8-piece band, is most places either can't afford it or they can't fit it in. Like certainly a little pub or some of the smaller working men clubs and something like that, they just don't have room for a big act in there. Even though people like to see a stage full of musicians, they don't necessarily able to afford to pay to have them there, because the cost of fuel and that sort of thing. It costs money to keep a big band on the road, whereas a duo is it's a lot more affordable to do it for the artists themselves.
You wrote Rude Boys, a song about gang culture. What was the motivation for that?
Well, the Rude Boys is it's used in two ways. Sometimes it certainly has been used as an insult. The Rude Boys comes from the Jamaican culture, and that was used in some ways like an insult to poor, uneducated, rough and ready people. That's what they were being called. They were being called these rude boys, and meaning it is somewhat as an insult. And the reaction to that was from people, because people are a little bit poorer and cultured, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're lacking in ethics and morals. And so they reacted in a way by sort of rejoicing in the name, and but they would go out and they'd dress up smart. So even though I haven't got very much money, I can have clean clothes and I can be clean shaved, and I can try and look nice for a Saturday night. And even though they were working hard all week and possibly long hours, they would, when they went out, they'd make an effort to look smart. And that was one aspect of the Rude Boys. But of course, the other Rude Boys is when it was justifiably used as an insult, because some people they rejoice in gang culture, knives and guns and drugs, and things like in and out of prison, and they think this is a good way of life, and that continues to today with drill music and things like that, which where the gang culture, gangsterism is celebrated, and it really is not something to celebrate because it's bullying.
Will you be writing more songs for the band?
I may get in the mood to do it. Sometimes you feel as though that there's things you want to say. I think COVID's got in the way a little bit of my songwriting, and we've all had to struggle through possibly a little bit difficult times for a lot of people, and I think I'm trying to bounce back after what has been really quite a difficult couple of years for a lot of people.
You brought in Natasha to replace your previous singer. She must have altered the dynamics of the band.
Well, yes. What happened is there was problems with the previous singer, and the first singer of Ska Waddy, he was very kind, and he came out of retirement, even though he got some poor health, and he helped me get things going again, and we did some recording with Roger in Coventry. I did some videos with him, and we got things going back up. But he couldn't stay with the act, so I was looking for another singer, and he gave me plenty of notice that he couldn't really do any more than a Saturday night because of his health. So I was looking for a singer, and I looked for a few, and I came and met up with Natasha, and she seemed. I thought to myself, that's an interesting idea. Why not have a female to do the singing in the act? And I thought that might be appealing to the public as well, to have something a little bit more unusual than a couple of blokes.
Yeah. You have an album out called Tracking Back. Can you tell me more about it?
Well, the act, being a very small act, is got basically just me playing guitar, and so we have to try and create a full sound, use click tracks or backing tracks to complete the lineup, so that you've got the drums and bass guitar and things like that, so make a full sound for the audience to hear. So it was basically, it was an album which we did using the backing tracks and click tracks, but then to put a bit better quality on there to make it a bit more studio-ish, by actually putting studio recordings on with it. So that's why it got called Tracking Back.
Post-COVID restrictions, how easy have you found getting gigs?
COVID really knocked the act back. We had, I think, near enough 80 gigs on the books when everything had to stop. Government said, and of course all the places we were playing at, they couldn't have live music on, couldn't even be open. So we lost a lot, which I think the act would be in a different place now if that COVID hadn't happened, because then it carried on. It even got worse for us, because after about 12 months, if you remember correctly, the government lifted the restrictions and said that that venues could start having acts on again, and the books started to fill up, and we got about 40 on the books. And then the government said, whoa, we better stop this back, and we lost another 40 gigs. Yeah, it does make me think sometimes. I wonder where Ska Waddy would be. How I think the acts have been badly damaged by, and obviously not the only one. It's been the same for all the other acts, but I'm sure we would have been further forward. In what direction, I don't know, but certainly COVID's badly affected not just Ska Waddy, but lots of other acts as well.
Yeah, of course. Any advice for a band just starting up?
From my experience, I know that a lot of bands, they'll form, they'll get together and they'll get all enthusiastic and they're doing all sorts and put a lot of hard work into it. And then one way or another, they will fizzle out after about 18 months or 2 years or something like that. I know that the usual reason for that is somebody thinking they're more important than everybody else in the band. Egos come into it and all sorts of things, and that's one of the major reasons that bands break up. Remember, they break up for other reasons, like that people's priorities are like somebody might get ill or something like that, and or the girlfriend's ill, or that they're going to get married or something like that, and they put it as a priority over the music. It's a band of musicians, and it should be a band of friends and a band of workmates. You all work together, and like in the workplace, you should be working to strengths. Like everybody's got strengths, and everybody's got weaknesses. And if you've got, say, 3 or 4 people in an act, understand that people have got weaknesses and try and help them with them. Try and cover them up if you can, and work to their strengths. It's a band is not about one person. You're only one person in the 3 or 4, so you've got to act as a team.
What plan for Ska Waddy in 2022?
Like a lot of other acts, we're recovering from what's happened to the music business over the last couple of years. I mean, the venues are recovering as well. I mean, a lot of them have gone out of business. A lot of acts have just packed up and said, enough, we can't do it anymore. We can't sustain the enthusiasm for performing when we can't perform, and they've just gone by the wayside. So it's to recover from the couple of years that have been lost. I'm not getting any younger. I like performing, and I will continue to perform as long as I can. I'll try and help the band advance to the future. I'm working on new bits and pieces for maybe 1 or 2 new covers that we might do, and you never know, we might do a little bit more recording if things go well. But getting back to where we were before COVID started is got to be the first priority, I think.
Right. Mark, I wish you and your band all the best. Many thanks for being my guest. That was Mark Ryder of Ska Waddy. Great guy.
Thanks very much for the interview.
The spotlight in this episode is on the iconic Horizon Studios in Coventry. Barrie Thomas, the owner, invited me over to visit Horizon Recording Studios a couple of months before the official opening day. An artist was carefully painting a small section of what would become a big wall mural in the reception area and stairwell. I think he was a Lanchester Poly student. I wish I could find his name, as what he eventually created helped to give the studios an individual identity, so different to most other recording studios. On walking into the control room, I was greeted by a mass of multicoloured cables emanating from a partially built custom mixing desk. A few weeks later, I heard that the guy building it quit one day and never returned. The part-completed desk was replaced by a ready-made desk soon after. I think the studio was open for business sometime in '77. I recall the recording rates per hour were very reasonable for an 8-track recording studio. Previously, I used to record over at Bird Studios in Snitterfield, but that's another story. So Coventry now had a brand new recording studio, and in the years to come, many musicians would climb those treacherous stairs with amps, speakers, keyboards and guitars. I remember in early '79 I was recording a couple of my songs with a bunch of mates, when the engineer asked us to listen to a track by a band called The Specials. After he played the track, I honestly didn't think that much of it, and told him so. But what the hell did I know? That track turned out to be Gangsters, and later that year it rose to number 6 in the singles charts, and kick-started the two-tone phenomenon, which helped put Horizon Studios on the national map. But so did Roger Lomas, who produced many tracks at Horizon that became hits. He made an important contribution to the Horizon story. Over more than 25 years, many artists and bands and owners passed through those doors until it closed for good in 2003. Then the entire building was demolished. Was it daft to build a recording studio at the top of a multi-storey building with no lifts next to a train station? Well, yeah, but it worked. We all put up with it. Horizon Studios was unique, and the engineers and the musicians made it a fun, creative place to record. And I, for one, loved it. If you have any pictures of you or your band or the studios, Mark Ryder runs the Horizon Studios Facebook page. Drop him a line. He'd love to hear from you. Coming up is a song written by Mark Ryder and released by his band Ska Waddy in 2019, engineered by Mariusz Zazulski, lead vocal Natasha Marie, drums Evan Anderson, keys Mariusz Zazulski, and guitar and keys Mark Ryder. Rude Boys.
Gangster boys with guns, prison boys with knives, robbing, shooting boys, stabbing, looting boys, white powder boys, nightmare boys, 'cause they are rude boys, they are rude boys, they are rude boys, they are rude boys.
Well, that's the first episode of the audiowavecafe podcast wrapped up, and with more to come. I'd like to hear from unsigned bands and artists in whatever genre to send me one or two of your demos in MP3 format to audiowavecafe@gmail.com. Now, they could have been recorded yesterday or 40 years ago. Include where the demo was recorded, who played what, and I'll see about getting your original music played on a podcast. Because I believe there are many great songs and performances out there just waiting to be heard. In episode 2, my guest will be Ruth Cherrington. We'll be talking about her book, The Dirty Stophouse Guide to 1970s Coventry. And I'll be shining a spotlight on the Rock House, Coventry's much-missed live music and dance venue. Thanks again to my guest, Mark Ryder of Ska Waddy. And that's it. I'm done. Till next time.